see. I'll show you where we are. Better than getting up and looking every morning at the goddamn fucking streets of Memphis. Get over here, we get good. Hey! Come here! Hey, Francis!
I want to thank you for these wonderful pictures of these.
Jack. Out of the fence and they'll come to you. Just get up out of the car and walk by the fence, they'll come to you.
Tonight will mark the conclusion of this series, and by popular request, we will take another dimension and another three-part series after Pesach, God willing. Quite a few people have asked even to repeat this, that I won't do. That I won't do. I was hoping.
You were worried about you, Barbara.
My one success.
That's his shield. That's what I know she is, the shield. Somebody that knows what
She
you're
just knows her
talking
stuff.
about.
Now, let me begin. You have all feelings except me, and I need one. Here's one. I got the thank you. Thank you, Robert. And if you don't mind, please turn to
Cleaning the kitchen tonight?
Is there any more to help?
They're plenty back here. Red, next time you're stingy with these things, I will. Okay, now, as I explained in the previous two nights, that there are many diverse forms. Kabbalah is a vast, vast world that we would be fortunate to understand what it's about, and certainly not to begin to grasp Kabbalah itself. But we will, and we, as I mentioned, will be dealing and are dealing with the aspects of Kabbalistic meditation from the view of Hasidus, rather than the views of the pre-Lurianic Kabbalists, meaning the Ari, Zal, those who preceded him, and how it was, shall we say, translated by some of the great Hasidic masters, by the great Rabbis of early Hasidism. And we will translate it tonight into meditative form and basically convey a simple meditative technology or technique. Now, before going any further, I need to explain to you that those who use words indiscriminately commit a very serious mistake. For instance, is meditation Jewish? Meditation is very Jewish. Very Jewish. Is Jewish meditation in any shape, manner, or form to be compared to other forms of meditation? I think I made reference to this earlier. Answer. Possibly in technique, but not in purpose, not in mission, or in objective. Possibly. And basically I'm going to boil it down to two techniques, two concepts. One can be called a Hasidic view of Kabbalah, of intensity. The other is simply a means by which to prepare a frame of mind and feeling and thought. Now let's go to the Hasidic perspective. Let's first talk about man, people. If you've ever met someone whose state of being was always an exuberant one, then you probably met this person in a mental hospital. And if they're not there, they belong there. Simply because the inevitable fact that Adam Hamus Nolad, man was born to die, automatically provides us with, inherently and inevitably, a sense, if you will, of defeatism. Defeated in the fact that this extraordinary experience called life is a temporal one. That is basically a prosdor l'chaye olam haba, a corridor to the world to come. Therefore, man has two choices. The choice of being, in Freud's terms, thanatotic. The choice of saying, I'm going to die. Life is a vacuous, empty experience. In the words of Kohelet, Havel Habalim, it's vanity of vanity, but in essence really nothing. It has nothing to give me. Just do it, or in an existential sense, and in hedonistic, nihilistic existentialism, I have to accept the reality of being high, good to see, the reality of being, and being is temporal, and life is basically animal, umosa adam min abehema oyin. There's nothing that disparages man from the animal being. Man is an animal. Man has no future. Life is empty, vacuous, and gone. This pessimistic view is the prevalent view in all world religions. This view is the fundamental philosophy of all but one analytic schools. It's definitely Freudian, it's definitely Adlerian, it's definitely Jungian, it is not Frankelian. Viktor Frankl, Alav HaShalom, Viktor Frankl dared to challenge the accepted analytic schools and presented a Torah view, initially not knowing it, later discovering that this was Torah, and this was not only Hasidic, but very powerfully meaningful. He embraced it with all his heart and soul. He's not the only one. The more people who will understand it, as you will tonight, will embrace it. But people need to learn more about it and to experience it. Now let me begin. Let me begin. The Gemara says, Ein hashchina shchuya b'toch atzvus. The spirit, the Shechina, and why the choice of the word Shechina in the Talmud begs explanation. The Shechina, and I'll define Shechina in a moment, does not rest in the midst of sadness. But excuse me, where does the joy to come from? Where is the happiness to come from? Peace. Peace of mind. Peace. Security. Comfort. It may come from. But still man is indigenously atzuv, sad. Another word? Depressed. By all broad definitions of depression, it certainly would articulate itself as something sad. Now, I'm not talking about maniacal depression. I'm talking about what we call clinical depression or normal depression, and there is such a thing as normal depression. What is the Shechina? Why does the Gemara use the word Shechina? Why doesn't the Gemara, the Talmud, use Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu? The Holy One, blessed be He, is not in the midst of sadness. Why Shechina? What is Shechina? Literally, etymologically, the word is Shachen, to rest, to live, to exist. Hashem doesn't exist in the midst of sadness, but it has other meanings. The Shechina is the aura of Hashem. Kabbalistically, the Shechina is man's connection to God. There where the Shechina is, there is security. There is potential possibility for happiness and for peace. Now let's begin. Route 1. Route 1, Kabbalah. Route 1, meditation. let's go on. Page 90, Mem Gimel, Book of Psalms. What will interest us is verse Gimel, Pasuk 3. But I'll read it in context and then we'll go on. Shofeni Elokim b'libo ribi migoy le'chasi. Avenge me, O God, and champion my cause against the nation of time. Deliver me from a man of deceit and iniquity. Now the commentaries explain this is not a Tehillim class, so I won't go into the meaning of this verse. For you are the God of my strength. Why have you abandoned me? Why must I walk in gloom because of a foe's oppression? Lachatz oyev, the foe's oppression.
You're Mem Gimel.
Loma, I'm sorry,
Mem Gimel?
Mem Gimel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you? Page 90?
Yeah.
So you're there.
I'm not seeing it. Okay.
Don't meditate yet. All right, just a moment. Anyone want a minute? Pasuk Gimel. Shlach Orcha v'amitzcha, I will come back to it. But what I want to come back to is the question, why must I walk in gloom because of the foe's oppression? Clearly the foe is not a foe from without, the foe is a foe from within. Anxiety, fear, and all the other things that the human mind and soul are beset with. Or if this were just referring to, in all of Tehillim you need to know, friends, that there are it is our commitment and belief that these were authored by King David. B, they are not only applicable as personal prayers and petitions, but they are universal and for all times and all people. So therefore, we have to talk in terms of just any individual who may not have any visible or known foes, who doesn't have any enemies. But clearly, the commentaries want us to think in terms of the fact that when he says, why must I walk in gloom because of the foe's oppression, he talks of himself. And become clear later. Now, Pasuk Gimel. Dispatch your light and your truth. Shlach Orcha v'amitzcha. Heima yinachuni. They will guide me. They will bring me to the mount of your sanctuary and to your dwelling. That I may come to the altar of God, to God, the gladness of my soul, and praise you on the harp, O God, my God. Why are you downcast, my soul? And why are you disturbed on my account? Hope to God, for I shall yet thank him for the salvation of my countenance, and because he is my God. Now, first we want to talk about dispatch your light and your truth. Your light, what is your light? Is that poetic language? If we would say it is poetic language, we would be talking about another Torah, another book of Tehillim, because we don't talk about poetry in Holy Scripture. We are Masoreti Jews, believing Jews. We believe each word has profound revelation and meaning. So what does it mean? Shlach Orcha v'amitzcha. What does it mean? Well, we want to translate it. Your light and truth. Your light is Torah. Torah or. Good. And how does that affect the downcast spirit of my soul? How does it affect the pain and agony of my being? We're talking about meditation here, my friends. We're talking about a man talking to himself, man meaning plural man or woman, speaking to himself or to herself, and asking this question, why are you downcast? Ma tishtochachi nafshi. Why is my soul downcast? Why do I fear? Say rest? Where can I rest if I know that the cause of my anxiety is both natural and normal. How do I escape? Stop. All of society escapes very profoundly, very commonly. Today we have the most distracted society in human history. I'm not trying to use this opportunity to preach, but we distract constantly. If we don't distract through something we physically and orally imbibe, then it's the various distractions for which have become the largest American industry, from the internet, television, movies, everything else. We purposely project ourselves and engage in a transferentiality into another life, another person's life, another situation, morning to day and night to day. But do you know what's happened? While I sit there and watch, or while I engage in something else, something is missing from all of it. And what is that? Me? Me? Where am I? Well, a young woman I saw not too long ago, she was convinced that she was in the process of transferentiality, which made her very happy, that she was really some television or motion picture character, actually a very famous movie actress. This is nothing new. Transferentiality or transference is a very common concept and practice. It's not Jewish. It's Hellenic. It's Christian. Christianity is predicated upon that. In fact, it's not even Easter, because all forms of Eastern meditation, which I'm quite familiar with, all forms of transcendental meditating or Hindu meditation primarily, or yoga, are all forms of transferentiality. It's basically me being someone else. Only in Torah, and only in Kabbalah, and only in Hasidus is there a central concentration to dig deep into the depths of my being and my own neshama. That's clearly the only truth. So when he says Shlach Ocha va'amitcha, when he says send your light, what is the light? The Shekhinah. What is the Shekhinah? The Shekhinah is a means by which we reach into the depths of our being and we feel the transcendency of Kedusha, of holiness, enveloping us. How do we accomplish that? Oh, you have to be a very big tzaddik. Amech kulam tzaddikim. Your people, as Hashem say, are all tzaddikim. That means you and you and you and anyone is capable of reaching anyone. Is capable of reaching into the depth of the absolute righteous being that the tzaddik is capable of. What endowment does the tzaddik have that we would think only he is capable of doing? The earlier Lurianic teachers, in fact, the Ari, Rabbi Isaac Luria, Ari, the acronym Aleph Resh Yud stands for Elohi Rabbeinu Yitzchak, the godly Rabbi Yitzchak. That's what he was referred to. In fact, his principal chavrusa, partner, teacher, and primary Talmud, Rabbi Chaim ben Tahal, was convinced that the Ari was a divine being. Not God, but a genuine Yeshua King. On that, about the Ari, there is no dispute by anyone. From the Gaon of Vilna to the Baal Shem, principal adversaries. Yet both the Gaon opened his mind to the Ari's Kabbalah, the anti-Chassid, and the father of Chassidus. Do you know why? It's Ocha va'amitcha. It's your light and your truth. It is everything true that begins not with masters, not with geniuses, not with extraordinary forces and powers, but it is inherent within each and every one of us. As the Torah concludes, in all those signs and wonders which Moshe brought from Sinai were given the Einei Kol Yisrael to the eyes of every Jew. All you have to do is touch your neshama and you will be there. Now, what is this light? This light can be seen neither with your eyes or your glasses, but with your soul. What What am I supposed to do? I'm here standing before Hashem, God, and I'm davening. Or I'm just praying, saying Tehillim. What am I supposed to do? Oh, so the halacha clearly says, Rabbi Yosef Cairo, who was incidentally a principal Kabbalist also in Sfat, where the Ari lived, where Rabbi Chaim Vital lived, and Rabbi Yosef Cairo, the father of Jewish law, the author of the Shulchan Aruch, of the Rabbi Yosef Cairo, was also a Kabbalist. And none disagreed, and all were impacted upon by the same person, the father of Kabbalistic meditation, Rabbi Abraham Abulafia. But even later, the schools of Musar, which were intended to be antithetical to Hasidism, principally avowing halachic commitment and the humbling of man, even the schools of Musa adopted a principal halachic work that teaches us also how to meditate. The Arba'ah Sifrei Musa, the Rabbi Yoni Geryondi, the 12th century sage, whose works are in the Musar movement, the most imperative of them all, and incidentally, they are profoundly Hasidic, except the Hasidim didn't study it at one time, and the others did, so each one took the claim to different authors, and incidentally, the principal halachas, for who was the teacher of, the principal teacher of the Ari, was the halachic commentator of them all, the last of the Rishonim, of the Tkufa, of the era of the Rambam, Rabbi Bezalel Ashkenazi, the author of the Shita Mekubetzet, the first and only anthology of the principal medieval commentators, who is the ultimate halachist, and you know what? The teacher of the Ari. So I say this because there is not something new here. There is not something which is halachic. This is halacha. This is Torah. And sadly, I know very few people who have ever engaged in it, no less understand it in the simplest form even. That's very sad. Side comment, I think there should have been 1,000 people here. Maybe the next time we start this again, just word of mouth will bring 1,000 people, because you need to learn how to commune with Hashem, to find the Shekhinah through the neshama of a person. Now, what is the light of Hashem? Constantly talk about the light. For with you is the source of light, and in your light do we see light. Where is this light? The light, as I said, is in the search. Simple search. The Jew stands to say Shemona Esrei. Or anything, or you're alone. You want to commune with God. Well, there are no anthropomorphic, no bodily corporeal aspects, and no shum dimyon klal. He has no physicality. So, I mean, what do I imagine? Emptiness. I don't know what God is. So how do I talk to God? How do I relate to God? What do I do? So, the Baal Shem, the father of Hasidus, meditated a great deal. What did he do? He lied down on a bed, and he tried to empty his mind. That's good for the Baal Shem. It is not for anyone else. No one can empty their minds. Not a drug on earth, not any form of that powerful anesthetic can bring a person to empty their minds. And suddenly, and then what did he see if he emptied his mind? So the first thing is a grasp. Da lifnei ato omei. Know before whom you stand. It's awesome. Then it's beyond me. Then it's beyond me. Karov Hashem l'chol asher yikrouhu be'emes. God is nigh to all that call upon him in truth. So you have to dial the number. And then the phone answers. But you have to have the number. Where is the number? Light is not a corporeal image. in the darkest hours, and I can remember this so clearly, I met this great giant of Hasidic Rebbe's when I was a kid. I went in Williamsburg on a Friday night to see Rabbi Yecheskel Halberstam, the Klosenberger Rebbe. He just came to America. And I was 12 years old. But I will never forget him or what I experienced that night. It was now at least 2 hours after candle lighting, and the Rebbe had just finished davening. This was an incredible sight. The Rebbe had just finished davening, and he came in to eat the Shabbos meal. I couldn't understand it. For 40 minutes, he repeated and repeated one verse of Eshet Chayil. One verse. Why was the Rebbe repeating one verse of Eshet Chayil? Ma'avadim asut Allah sheish agam alerusha. She made a valorous woman. She made garments for her husband, and so forth, and she weaved things. He's repeating it, and he's repeating it. It took 40 minutes before he stopped repeating that singular verse. While all the Hasidim swayed with him, there was no great tune, there was no tune. He just kept saying, Ma'avadim asut Allah sheish agam alerusha. Ma'avadim asut Allah. What is Ma'avadim that this valorous woman made got to do with all this, and why does it deserve 40 minutes? And this man was not just a very great tzaddik who had lost his wife and 13 children to the Nazis in the concentration camp and came here alone and had been the rabbi in the Carpathians, what was the largest Hasidic community. His cousin was the rabbi of Satmar, which was smaller than Klosenberg. And he, this incredible giant, what was this here? So I pulled, my brother was with me, my brother's in me, is older than I, pulled his sleeve, and I said to him, what's going on? And he said, I'll find out. It's crazy. So we saw this guy we both knew, incidentally. This guy he went to was a fellow who played at our wedding, Yul Turner, the Tshuva, the famous concert violinist who met the Rebbe by accident and suddenly gave up playing with just did his last concert, and it was at Carnegie Hall with the New York Philharmonic. He gave it up, grew a beard, and became an incredibly inspiring Hasidic Jew. A great musician, first Hasidic musician or musician of Hasidic music in America. My brother said to him, Gidel, what's the Rebbe doing here? My brother was somewhat less shy than I am. He's shy. The Rebbe's meditating.
What?
Meditating. It's an English word I heard about, I think. It's a verse I know. Lord, let the meditation of my heart and the words of my lips be acceptable before you. I knew, meditating. I took a portrait. I had the merit of coming to know the Klosenberger Rebbe later in life. On one Shabbos in 1961, I was in Israel at Galitzans in Netanya. And there the Rebbe built a town. In fact, the Rebbe, incidentally, the Klosenberger Rebbe, was a passionate Zionist. He brought the diamond industry to Israel, which I don't have to tell you the role diamonds play in the Israeli economy. And he built a city. In fact, he built a hospital for Netanya. Imagine a Hasidic Rebbe donating a hospital, Laniado Hospital, to a city of 150,000 people in Israel. I was the man I was supposed to sit at his table Shabbos, and we were talking very normally. I was surprised because I heard the Rebbe never talks to people normally. Maybe whatever. And I said that I reminded myself to the Rebbe that I saw him repeating Ma'avadim Asalah. I said, do you do this every Friday night? I said, the only thing that came to my mind that the Rebbe at that time must have been thinking of his rabbits when the Nazis killed and he was probably associating something somewhat mystically with his wife. And I expected that was it. And I asked him, was that it? He said, "Nay, my king, no, my child." I said, "What was it?" He began to tell me about the Talmud and something that he went into Kabbalah. And he said, "You see, Shabbos, I enter the palace of Hashem. How do I enter this palace? Do I enter this palace by simply saying, 'Here, Shabbos, here, hey, where's my tie? I'm going to shul,' and end it? Or is something happening to me? I am part of my civilization. I'm part of creation. I'm part of the beginning. I'm being benefiting the Ziv HaShekhinah, from the radiance of the Almighty Shekhinah, which is that incredible ambience. But how do I feel? Where do I come?" She says to me, "I was in Auschwitz." He rolled up the Rebbe, his satin bekeshit and his garment, and he said to me, "You see these numbers? You see these numbers?" I said, "Of course I saw these numbers. Nothing new to me. This was 61 already. I'd seen hundreds of them." He says, "You see these numbers?" He says to me. "But I never failed to make Shabbos in Auschwitz." Anything could have been Shabbos. He said, "No." He says, "The Nazis could not get to my neshama. They beat me, they starved me, they killed everyone I loved, they killed my community, they wiped us out." Klosenberg was a community of total kedusha, but they couldn't enter my neshama. My neshama was close to them, and on Shabbos I was in the palace of Hashem, without food to eat, wine to drink, challah to make a bracha over, without a siddur, without a minyan, without my own dignity, without my beard, without my payas, without anything but Shabbos. I was in the palace of Hashem. How did you get into the palace, Rebbe? That's what meditation is. He says the words Malvazi Masala says you don't climb, you scale mountains to reach the peace, but you move into that realm that only God knows and only I can touch. The God that was breathed into me when life came to me as a child. That's what it is. Can I tell you the truth? 61, I was not only a married man, a rabbi, pretty large congregation, and already thought that I was a big shot. Father, Baruch Hashem, of great children. Can I know? I didn't know what he was talking about. So I tried it the following week. I took the same pasuk, Malvadi Masalah, Sheish Ragam Lavusha, and I sat there in the King's Hotel on King George Street, and I sat there and kept repeating it. I don't know. Nothing happened. Years later, I saw the Klosenberger Rebbe again. I said, I repeated the same pasuk. I wanted to enter. I wanted to feel the Shekhinah and the Kedusha, and nothing happened. So he said, the pasuk you repeated. He said, you have to, you're probably trying to climb. You got up on a quote, an elevator, and you pushed the 50th button, and you forgot you don't need the elevator. Why did I pick this pasuk? It talks about a woman making something simple. I touched my coat, my tzitzis, and my beard, and I felt the kedusha. Rule 1. King David says, hope to God, for I shall yet thank him. So what do we do? Begin a simple meditative experience, whether it's before davening or any time. Before davening, before Shemona Esrei. The meditative experience begins as follows. I want to see light. Light, I can understand. Imagery, I can't. I want to see light. Which light? The light that's never extinguished. I want to do I say? I say, Hashem, in any words I know, let me see your light. Do it for a moment. Don't close your eyes. You don't have to. If you want to, you could. Just ask yourself a simple question. Can I see a light? Any light? Think for a moment. Can I see a light? Any light? Then I say the first word. Hashem, what do I mean? Oh God, open my lips. What I mean is, let me see to whom I speak. I'm talking to Hashem. I can't see you. I don't want to see you. It's impossible for me to do that. But I want to feel not darkness, but light. I want to feel not darkness, but light. Always, in every scripture, in every passage we have, we just had Purim. What was the great moment of Purim? La Yehudim Oisa Ora V'Simcha. The Jews had light and joy. No light, no joy. No light, darkness. No light, no life. No light, no community with God. So in the darkest moments of my life, I want to see light. What should the light in my life, in my mind, in my soul look like? It should look by whatever I imagine it to look like. Nothing great, nothing extraordinary, but I should feel light. Won't come at once. It only comes when I continuously beseech Hashem and say to him, let me see your light. Now we know that above the crown of Hashem, which I've explained several times, thank you, there is a Noga. The Noga is the light above the crown. That Noga can never be extinguished. When in one of the brachos of the Haftorah we say on Shabbos, Shelo yichbe neiro li'olam va'ed, that his light shall not be extinguished forever. This refers to the Noga Hashem, the light of God. What is that light? It's the light that I can bring through the darkest elements of my being. Now, if you will, turn to page 88, the previous chapter. Because only one man taught us how to pray, one man taught us how to commune, and the very same man taught us how to meditate. Verse 2, Posik Beis, Hayo Taro Galafi Kemoyim, Ki Nafshi Salo Gilecha Elohim. As the deer calls lovingly for the brooks of water, so does my soul call lovingly to you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? What was David HaMelech seeking to do? Or David HaMelech was King David was seeking to know when he could come and appear. When will God bring the light upon him so that he could be seen before the Almighty? For me, my tears were sustenance day and night. When they say to me all day long, where is your God? These do I recall and pour out my soul for what has befallen me. How I passed with the throng, walking slowly with them up to the house of God, with joyous song and thanks a celebrating multitude. Why are you downcast, my soul, and why are you disturbed on my account? Hope to God, for I shall yet thank him for the salvations of his countenance. Stop. For I shall yet thank him for the salvation of his countenance. And so we want to be blessed. And the Kohanim stood upon the Duchan in the holy temple with their hands extended, and the whole house of Israel stood before them in utter silence. What was Israel doing, and what were the Kohanim doing? Ask yourself a question. Words are repeated 1,000 times. We never pay attention to what they mean. May the Lord bless you and protect you. Hans, question, how? May the Lord turn his countenance to you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face to you and give you peace. What are we talking about? So we say, you give us peace. Peace is going to be what sort of peace? Peace is going to be, there'll be no war between the Jews and the Arabs. Peace will be, there'll be no war between one group of Jews and another group of Jews. That's not what we're talking about, because the passage says the Yosei, L'chol, and he will place to you. Singular. Me. You. Me. You. L'chol shalom. To you and to all of Israel. Now, how? The countenance and the face. What are the countenance? What is the countenance? What is the face? What is your Hashem Palavilecho? Mean your air. Your air. What does your air mean? Light. Light to the face. What is the face? Another word, the partsuf. And in Kabbalah we have many partsufim faces. But how do we possibly imagine the face of God? And how does it bring us light? Answer. Light is the face. Light is the key. In your light do we see light. How? So the Rabbi isn't Nacham. And they never shut the light out of his life. Rabbi died last year. I don't know if you read about it. Never shut the light out of his life. The Nazis, nor any force on earth could do it. The light was there. The Shabbos lights came to him in his soul. Were never extinguished. How do I do it? Well, David asked this question for all of us. Go back to this verse. Ma tishtochachi nafshi batehem yolai. Ochili lelokim. Listen, this is a very extraordinary verse. Verse 6. Why are you downcast, my soul, and why are you disturbed on my account? Hope to God, for I shall yet thank him for the salvations of his countenance. Nachamo, again. Odpam, countenance. What are the salvations of his countenance? I don't understand that. I beg someone to explain to me. What are the salvations of his countenance? I understand salvation. I don't understand his countenance. Hashem's face saves? Answer. There is no face. What are we talking about? The light. Light is the countenance of God. Many reasons. Light, halachically, is defined when the Mishnah asks, when may a Jew pray in the morning? What is the morning? The Navi says, the guardian says there will come night and then there will come morning. What does it mean? The morning is for the tzaddikim, for the righteous. But can the light come in the night? In the depth of suffering and pain, can the light come in the night? The answer is yes. If my soul is found. Let's go on. And let's see. How do I do this? I need to acknowledge to myself that I am standing face to face with God. Not this face, but this face. I can't imagine God, nor should I try. All I want is to see a light in my heart. All I want is to see a light. So what does the Rebbe do? So the great Ari would spend hours. The Gemara tells us, Chasidim halashonim hayamishoyin sha'achas kodam atfilah. The early pietists would contemplate, I won't use another word, meditate 1 hour before davening. Why? The Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, "V'shi'atam ispalel," when you pray, al ta'as tfilos chokeva, make not your prayer a fixed thing. Elabad, rachamim v'sachamim, but mercy and supplication. How do I do this? Some people say, wail, weep. Hasidim say differently. How do I see this light in the darkness of eternity? Number of methodologies. One writes, the great Rabbi Menachem Mendel of the Choib went to Israel. The most exciting moment, he says, in my life was when I touched the soil of Israel. That was the extraordinary moment of my life indeed. Each time I come before Hashem, I imagine that moment. It was that moment of ecstasy. Does everyone have a moment? Yes, everyone has a moment. What did we call this last week? Recollective. A recollective light. I flash back in my mind to that one singular moment. The sound of my newborn son or daughter entering this world. And just the moment the glass broke at the end of my marriage, not marriage, but wedding. The moment I scaled the mountain. The moment I felt good about myself. That's not, we usually don't preserve those memories. The moment I forgot to now, so I remembered, to say to Hashem, He owed Odena, for I will yet thank you. How do I see the face of Hashem? When suddenly I know there's joy. When the joy and pleasure chemical in my brain has suddenly been elevated for a moment. How do I see light? When I feel brightness about me. What do? I stop. And I generate those recollections, those feelings. And I concentrate. And I think. And I think. Modim anach nuloch. We give thanks to you. So the Rebbe told me if I ever wanted to feel a state of exhilaration and closeness to Hashem, repeat it. Repeat it. Repeat it. Step 2 in the same concept and feel. Step 2. Two Hasidim came to the Kotzker Rebbe, the great Menachem Mendel of Kotzker. Each asked the Rebbe for a bracha for blessing. Both of them, their wives had yet to give birth or conceive. And the Rebbe gave the bracha to each. A year later, one came to thank the Rebbe. For sure enough, 9 months later, his wife gave birth. And the other came to complain. You blessed me like you blessed him. Why did your bracha actualize itself with him and not with me? The Rebbe said to the one whose wife gave birth, the Rebbe said, when I gave you the bracha, what were you thinking? I was thinking that this is going to work. I've got to be a father. And it never left my mind, my heart. I was exhilarated. And what did you think to the one whose bracha was unfulfilled? He said, what do I mean? Me? How do I come? I don't deserve such a thing. I was humble. And it said, because I merited. The pasuk says, Rabos machashavos belevish. There are many thoughts in the heart of man. Atzas Hashem, but the counsel of God, Isakum. What you think is what Hashem does. So if you come to Hashem in any state of being, and you're saying things are lousy, things are rotten, things are bad, things are horrible, don't expect you can't commune with God. You are not going to meditate Jewishly. Where does it begin? Put the light on. It's very dark in the inside, interior room of my life and being. The Shekhinah wants us to find a place to rest, but only b'simcha, with joy. And so if the moment is a tragic one, I'm in Dachau, I have to think of the joy for which I have yet to thank God. So what do? I say, Baruch Atah Hashem. Blessed are you, Hashem. Why am I blessing God? Strange halakha. You know, you make a bracha before you eat something? True or false? True. Come on, perk up. True. This is not hypnosis, this is meditation. Okay? True. You make a bracha, right? Don't you? You make a bracha when something good happens, when you're, God forbid, in an accident and your life was spared. What do? You make a bracha? You don't? You do. What else do you make a bracha? God forbid. Right? Then she says, Kishem Shemivochem ala tov, kach nivochem ala ra. You make a bracha for all the good, you make a bracha for the bad. So, it once bothered me. So I went to look in some Hasidic farm to see an answer. How do you make a bracha for something of the bad? Bad things. How do you stand and make a bracha and say, Baruch Dayan Emes, blessed is the true judge. And the Ein Lahar Lachamish Tashavtech, you can't question God's judgment. The rock is all perfect. How do you do that? The answer is, you don't bring the bad up. You don't play back in your mind the tragic pain of your life and the feelings of destitution, loneliness, and emptiness. What do you bring back up? I will insist that you bring back the simcha of your life. The key to your neshama is not the key made of tears. The key to your soul is the one made of joy. How do you bring it to yourself, to the depth of your being? I asked you. One person told me they took a piece of paper and pencil and spent several days making a list of all the good things that happened in their lives. Only the good. Then pick the best and say to Hashem, oh, I thank you. And the light gets brighter and brighter. Then I daven with passion and enthusiasm, not with pain and not with agony. I yell at my soul, Ma tishtochachi nafshi, ma te'emi yolai. Why are you downcast? Ochili l'elokim, ki od odem. Trust in God, for I will yet thank you. For I will yet thank you. One form. Then there's a meditation we do every day except on days when tachanun is not said, when we are sad. That meditation, we fall. We take our heads, place them as such in the morning, and it's mincha as such, and we recite the 6th Psalm, which you will find on page 8. Excuse me. Chapter 6, verse 2. Now, who would choose this? Only one who needs catharsis for his pain and for his grief. But what are we trying to do here? Are we trying to say that this is a permanent state? That I have to once enter what I'm going to read to you? And this is the state of my being? Excuse me. I am only permitted when we are supposed to repent. But any days, for instance, this entire month of Nisan, we do not sin. This entire month, whenever there's Rosh Chodesh, Shabbos, Yom Tov, we do not sin. We can say the Psalm, but we don't engage in that meditative spirit. What is that? It is a cathartic meditation. It is one that cries. It is one that reaches the soul and says, I can only cry to you, God, and only to you. Lecha Hashem ekro. Unto you do I cry. And here is what he says, Hashem al piyachol sofechim. Hashem, do not rebuke me in your anger, nor chastise me in your rage. Favor me, Hashem, for I am feeble. Heal me, Hashem, for my bones shudder with terror. My soul is utterly terrified of you, Hashem. How long? Desist, Hashem. Release my soul. Save me as befits your kindness. For there is no mention of you in death. In the grave who will praise you? I am wearied with my sigh every night. I drench my bed with my tears. I soak my couch. My eye is dimmed because of anger. Aged because by all my tormentors. Depart from me, all evildoers, for Hashem has heard the sound of my weeping. A strange phenomenon. Do you know that Chassidim practically never say this? There's always an excuse for not saying it. And Anshe, I hear they don't say it. Anshe is not Sephardi, as you should know if you don't know. Anshe is Ashkenaz and uses a Sephardic version of davening because the founders of Anshe came from Hasidic communities in Europe. And they always have a yard site of Samach, which is a holiday. You don't say Tachton. One question, why would Hasidim, not just Anshe, any Hasidic shul in the world, why would they have some aversion to saying this? If this is part of the davening, say Tachton, take your medicine, cry to God, scream, shout, yell, it hurts. Oigevalt. Answer is they're right. They are right. Because every day of life should be a Yom Tov. But if you have to scream, Ilech Hashem ekro, Hashem is coming, to you, God, do I cry, call, and to you do I supplicate. But how do I do it? I do it because only God knows the depth of my pain, my grief, and agony. It's not just the words that I say, but the feelings I can pour out. Would it sin to do this? God forbid. I have to tell you something interesting. I knew a great Mussar Rabbi teacher, passed away. He was also a Holocaust survivor. And I noticed something interesting. He was at the great yeshiva in Lakewood at the time, and every time the congregation would say Tachman, this prayer and others like it, he walked out of the room. One day, I happened to see the late Mordechai Wenger, I happened to see him in a contiguous room to the base medrash, study hall of the yeshiva. And I saw he was saying Tachman. I said, this Mishugas I can't understand. I get it, I tell you. I was always somewhat inhibited. I said, what the hell are you doing? And he looked at me and he said, if I have to complain to Hashem, I'm going to do it by myself in a alone, locked up room. When I want to praise and thank Hashem, I want to be part of everyone being here. But only Hashem knows my tears. Interesting person. Did something interesting happen. The first Simchas Torah that the 50 young men who survived the Holocaust through the late Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi the greatest Torah sage of the 20th century, brought to America, all off. They lived in our house. For some strange reason, my father was the rabbi of Lakewood, where the yeshiva was. Our family brought the yeshiva there. They gave my father a very big 24-bedroom house. It was as old as the hills in Old to live in a 24-bedroom house. They gave it to a rabbi. And so when these 50 young men came, they had no place for them. So my parents brought them to our house where they lived, most of them until they got married. They stayed with us in our house. So my mother, baked more cakes or whatever else she could. watch people who survived the Holocaust and how they react. I got close to all of them. The first Simchas Torah Lakewood was known. People came. In fact, Shirley came to spend Simchas Torah every year in Lakewood. Of course, she didn't know me then. And I never talked to girls at that time. The only girl I ever talked to, I married. That was it. But I remember that first Simchas Torah. I can never forget it as long as I live. I could never forget it. But Mozart Wenger was the same man. Was 6'4". And he stood very proud. He was the only one. No, there were only two. There were two in the Lakewood Yeshiva. The Rosh Yeshiva allowed to have beards. No one else was permitted to have a beard. I don't know if you know that, but all the yeshivas and your students were not permitted to grow beards. And you see, you look in the Encyclopedia Judaicus, Lapot can tell it's mere. This business with beards is a new thing, phenomenon in the yeshiva world today. Also, black cats were there. But that's irrelevant. Black cats were very much opposed to because of the very idea that I'm saying going to convey to you. So that Mozart Wenger, Simchas Torah, Mozart Wenger stopped in the middle of the Hakafos, in the middle of the dancing procession. It says, "Stop this now! Our mothers and fathers are scattered in their ash over the world. Brothers and sisters have died and our children are dead. And we stand here, we dance. Stop!" he yelled. He was a very imposing figure. The Rosh Yeshiva of Aaron Kotler, very short man. Probably, without doubt, the greatest mind I ever knew. Many people will attest that there was never a mind equal to his. Walked up to him and said to him, "Tom, noch tanzt du nicht jetzt, sollst du nicht mehr reinkommen. If you don't dance now, don't walk in here again." My father was very upset. My father was an extremely empathetic, compassionate person. And after the shul, we would all go to the yeshiva. My father saw this. My father was very close to the Rosh Yeshiva. My father walked up to him and said to him, about him. Father called him by his first name. He said to him, "Why don't you have compassion on me?" He says, "Do you think I said that out of discompassion? I love him more than my own son. But he will never find the comfort he needs by weeping and crying. Hashem doesn't want him. He didn't survive the Holocaust to spend the rest of his days, quote, in grief." Hashem says, "You want to cry? It's your privilege. But you want me to hear your prayer. Dry the tears. Dry the tears. And think in the most exciting, most positive way you can." People say, "I can't think positively. I've had things, knowing that things." Did you stop and try? Close the door. Go outside. Spring. Sit under a tree. Go to a lake, a river. Look around you. Say, "Morado Masech Hashem." How magnificent, how multitudinous are your works, God. Stand and stare at a red bird perched on a tree outside your window. Say, "Hashem, my God, how great are thy works. Ishbal lo yedo, chsil lo yabenesos." An empty person doesn't know. Say it. Ma godlu matzah Hashem. And stare at the tree. Concentrate on the bird. Think. Breathe. Those people that this we need to learn from our Eastern friends. But I discovered only last week that many of the great Hasidic masters of meditation had breathing techniques. I never knew it, because I know the Eastern techniques. Sit and breathe softly. Softly. If you didn't breathe, you'd be dead. Everyone can breathe softly. Listen. And if that doesn't work, let's all use sounds. I personally am not into it for a simple reason. Why am I not into it? Because it is very Eastern and can confuse people with idolatrous forms of meditation. However, there are now hundreds of people who use the mantras of either yoga or Hindu forms. The mantras and the sutras are all the names of idolatrous entities. You're not permitted to use them. Even if you think and even if you spit in their face, you can't use them. But I know the sounds, and all the diverse sounds. Some of this plain fakery, especially in TM, because there it is so secret, but I know the mantras of TM and the sutras of TM. They're all based on names, and they're simply proportioned not to any individual, but to age. The great physician was the color story of time. And he charges something like $10,000 to give you a sound and a mantra suited to you. There's a lot of baloney. What's his name again? No, that's hypnosis. No, mantra is a word, and you keep saying it, until the sound mesmerizes. And then if you get to a higher stage, you can actually feel, not really, yourself levitating. But you have to bear in mind that school says there's a physical, there's law of physics in the world that any person can energize. If you think that's nonsense, you're wrong. That's very much in Kabbalah. But you don't channel it through Avodah Zarah. What do you do instead? And I've given hundreds of lectures. I've learned a lot about this. Basically because Jews needed to be safe from Avodah Zarah. What do? Some people say just say Shema Yisrael. It does not work anyhow. For anyone who needs sounds, there is a very scientific, simple, but uncomplicated, not mystical, nor secretive way of creating sounds. Simply take sounds, know the meaning, know the purpose, what they represent, and I'd be glad to help anyone. You try them, if they work, fantastic. If they don't work, try different ones. And then they work. It's like putting on a pair of shoes. Sounds do have a mesmerizing, but there's no element of kedusha that enters through it. The use of kavanah is an instrument of holiness. It's an exercise of the neshama. But the instrument of sound is absolutely neurologically sound. It happens, it works. Do it with something sacred rather than doing it with something profane. That's all I say to everyone. There's nothing more. Kabbalah is tefillah itself. It's prayer. So why not use it for prayer and feel that closeness to Hashem, which you're capable of doing? Let's conclude with one thing. Now you will ask, what are the meditative elements to do with the last page? I didn't have time, but I talked about faces of God. This is what the Patsufim are about. Each image of God represents another sphere, meaning another sphere, and I frankly disdain anyone using Shemos Hashem, meaning references of Hashem's name for meditative purposes. I think it's extraordinary and I think it's wrong. I think you simply can think, feel, or use psukim, verses that are part of that. You can pick your own. The one that I feel the strongest, that works both in sound and in ruach, is Ochidi Velokim. That's in chapter 42. Hope and trust in God. That verse in Hebrew, repeated, has magical effect on people. It's incredible. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. Don't shout it, don't rush it. Read it as if you were a third grader learning how to read Hebrew. Excuse me, second grade.
What is it, Rabbi?
Kili Velokim Od Odenu Yeshua Bonai Velokai. It's on page 88, verse 6. Ochili Velokim Od Odenu Yeshuos Panah. Read the English to yourself. You know what each word means. And read the sound slowly. Ochili Velokim Od Odenu Yeshuos Panah. And then it appears again, and the end of the verse is a little different. But this is excellent. Ochili Velokim. Evidently, the E sounds have a definite, I am told, the E sounds have a peculiar and distinctive resonance. And basically, I was told this both by physicians and others, that the E sound, and the physicist drew a whole diagram for me. I am not talking about medicine, I'm not talking about physics, I'm talking simply experience. People using this posse have found themselves very, very stimulated in a profound meditative experience over and over, slowly, but know the meaning, and in your heart, think of the meaning. Ochili Veloki Ki O Oden Yeshua Panah.
I have one that I say to myself,
Wonderful one.
Shivisi Hashem Kanei
Excellent.
Yisraelu. And you said the
E
E
sound
sound.
works.
And I don't know what I think.
Shivisi, or just simply say Shivisi. Shivisi, Shivisi. The Sephardic Kabbalists, incidentally, and in the whole Sephardic world, Sephardi, not the Muslim Sephardi, you will see that in front of every Amid in every shul, in fact, we have one happening in the other room, is what they call a Shivisi. What they do with these here, with all these Kabbalistic phraseologies and forms, they concentrate on it. And before davening, according to all of them, I mean, from Kurdistan to North Africa, from one end of the eastern world of the Jews, they stare on it. And I was in Georgia, Tbilisi, many years ago. I found the great Chacham, who had been sent to Siberia and where he was blinded. This man spent, after he was released, he was sent to Siberia for teaching Torah, and after he was released, he sat under a tree in this most glorious part of the world, the Caucasian Mountains, and would recite word after word after word that he had memorized in the entire Talmud. An experience, tzaddik without equal. And I asked him, how did he manage to go through the tortures of Siberia? And he said, Shivisi Hashem. Then I saw something interesting. Sitting around him were small children who were saying Shivisi Hashem, Shivisi Hashem for hours. For hours. There's a great, which means of course I keep Hashem always before me. He is always at my right hand. Huh?
You do that also when you go on a trip, on the...
Some say that's already what you see.
They reverse the words.
Huh? No. You're talking about the Shuas Hashem Kivisi Hashem Shuasa. But then you say it in Aramaic, Hashem, which means I trust into your hope. But that's incidentally, all the places where you see minhagim of repeating words are all meditative. Meditative. And there's no reason why a person can't say Shivisi for an hour and close their eyes or leave them open. But I would strongly suggest never do something else if you try to. Feel, and you'd be surprised. Medical statistics and studies show today there are many people who teach meditation in hospitals and in physicians' offices especially, and they find it to be an extraordinary instrument in helping people. I think it becomes an even more powerful instrument, not just in giving an internal kind of tranquilization, but a tremendous religious experience that brings us plain closer to Hashem. Davening must never be made into a routine, fixed thing, as the Mishnah I quoted earlier says. And the person can live in tefillah all day. That is a very great virtue. But of course we need to work, and we need to teach, and we need to learn. Now, I was about to show you something which I want to leave you with. Now, on the other hand, some people do better with repetition of numbers. If you understand these numbers here, they have profound meaning. Do not, I tell you again, do not engage in the pronunciation of Hashem's the various ways of pronouncing Hashem. It's not just that you're not ready for it. I personally don't think one has a right to do that. Plus, it doesn't help. But you need to think the numbers you can use. And then what the numbers represent. You see, the four tetragrammatons here, this four here represents something, another dimension of Kabbalah, which we will talk about after Pesach when I start the three-part series over again. At that time, we're going to talk about the other aspect of Kabbalah, not meditation. Incidentally, if anyone does need sounds and finds that they'd like to, I'd be very happy to discuss it with them and help them privately. But that's a very personal thing. Now, just look at something here. All right, look at the numbers. The numbers represent, as such, the ayin bays. These are the numbers of Yud K Vav K, or in order to pronounce the Hey. What does it they amount to in that sense? 72. Now, please, and this is a very simple thing. I've talked about this many times, but because it's fundamental, in elementary, very elementary Kabbalah. It's called Mispar Kotten. What is Mispar Kotten? Many things in Kabbalah are extrapolated based on numbers. Numbers do have value. Numbers of Torah words have value. Now, let's go simple. Since these something. How much is 7 and 2? If you know what I'm doing, I've done it so many times, and you'll know right away what I'm getting. What? How much is 7 and 2? Okay, next number. Okay, that also equals Samach Gimel, which is how much? 6 and 3. How much is that? 9. Now, the third one, which is the Mem Hey equals, that Yud Havayo, Yud Havayo, or Havayo as another, is a Kabbalistic reference to Hashem. Many Kabbalists will not say Baruch Atah Hashem, but they will say Baruch Atah Havayo. Particularly amongst Chabadim. Havayo is not a word. Havayo simply means this numeric value. Now, how much is that? 4 and 5? 9. The last one, which is Yud Hey Vav Hey, or Yud Ha is smaller, it's 52-7. Now, and that translates the level of Malchut. The first Chochmah, Bina, and the other is the 6 other spheres. That gives us, and then Malchut, the kingdom, which very much coincides with the dimensions of the graph on the first page. Now let's see. 2 and 5 is how much?
7.
It's 7. Now how is it that the first 3 equal 9 and the last one is 7? Now, if you've done this before, bear in mind that a Mispar Kotten in the diminutive, or low Kabbalah, or lesser Kabbalah, there are no zeros. Okay? So if you've done this before with me, let's do it again. All right? Let's do 9. 9 times 2? 8 and 1? 3 times 9? 2 and 7? 9. It keeps going. It's consistent. All right, let's 9 times, let's say 10 times 9 is 90. No zeros. You're back to 9. Okay? Now, take 8. Now let's take a Hebrew word that equals 9. Adam. Aleph is how much?
1.
Dalet is how much?
4.
Taf, Mem is how much?
4.
No zeros, so you have 4, 4, 1 is 9. Now another word, the better word, emes. What does emes mean? And Aleph, Mem, Taf, 9. Okay, now let's take the word emes. Let's take the Aleph. What does the Aleph always represent? Not just the first letter of the alphabet, but the one who is first, and the number 1. And Hashem means God. Take God off of emes, of truth, and what's left? Which word? What does mace mean? Now, what number is mace? 8. 8 and 8? 16. 2 and 4?
6.
4 times 8?
32.
3 and 2? 8 continues to decline. Take Hashem off of emes. Emes really doesn't mean truth. Emes means absolute, whole, total, complete, which is what truth is. You take the aleph off, and you have death. Decline, down, and down, and down, until it disappears. Now, same with Adam. Take the aleph off Adam, what do you have? Dam, blood. You know, 4 pesos, time to think about blood. Okay? And you have 8. Again, man's mortal decline from birth down. So the main thing that we learn, and incidentally, the first 3 are 3, 3, 3, and 3 is how much? 9. Now, why is Malchut 52? How much is 52? 7. Now, what is 7? What is the 7th day of the week? Shabbos. What is 7 in the week? And Shabbos, the kingdom of God. What does it mean? It means the Holy One is mitzamtzem. He contracts himself into what? Into the world. He places himself into our lives and spheres and beings. We enter the divine palace. We ascend. What is Shabbos? Another description. Me'ein olam haba. The concentration of the world to come. So what is Shabbos? It is man entering the kingdom, the palace of the Almighty. That is Shabbos. What is therefore Shabbos? Shabbos is, why does the Shabbos begin, incidentally, with putting on lights, which means women light the candles, man has to halachically, if there's no one else has to light it. What do the lights bring? The lights bring us the Noga Hashem. We bring the light above the divine crown for Hashem on Shabbos is the key. And Yismichu, what does the rest go? Who knows it? B'malchus Shomer Shabbos. Those who enter the Shabbos rejoice. B'malchus What does Malchus mean? In thy kingdom. Fascinating, isn't it? The kingdom is 7. Because the kingdom is where Hashem confines himself to one singular day. Therefore, what does meditation got to do with the kingdom of God? On Shabbos is a complete meditative experience. It is a momentary transcendency. If the Shabbos is seen as some sort of eating orgy, or if the Shabbos is perceived as some sort of a, thing, I am keeping Shabbos, I am a Shomer Shabbos, wow, and if that's what it is, you are violating Shabbos, different than anyone who doesn't keep the Shabbos. What is the Shabbos a feeling? That I enter into a very special sphere of being, that I climbed up to the peak of the mountain, and here I entered the palace of the Almighty. That's what Shabbos is. What is the Shabbos? Grossman, the Shabbos. Anyone know the end of this pasuk? The Rabbi says, you shall declare the Shabbos a delight. How do I declare it a delight? I go back to the old Rabbi when Dachau said, "You never fail to keep Shabbos." How? Inside the soul of his people. Shabbos, we have a special fortification. What do our sages tell us? Hashem grants all of us on Shabbos. The Shama is there, an excessive or additional soul. Why do I need that extra soul? Because one soul is battered the other 6 days. This soul, if I can find it, if I can enter it, this soul is unscathed by all the profanity and mundanity of animal existence. In simple Kabbalah, the Ari teaches Shabbos is when the Memphis Elikus, when the divine soul enters into its sphere. So what do Jews do on Shabbos? I do it before Shabbos. Let me just reveal what I do because anyone who comes to shul probably knows that's the one time I come before anyone else. Harold, true, huh? Not Shashim, I say to him. I say to him, not say Shashim, but I say Shashim at another time. I say to him, before every Shabbos, before Mincha, do I say to him? I pray for the sick? Of course I always do. Do I pray for everyone in my community? Yeah, whether they like it or not, I do. But you know what I say to them? I meditate before the Shabbos comes in. And I hear the sounds of Kabbalah, and I say the exact same verses before Shabbos every Friday, as I have for most of my life. So when the Shabbos comes, the elevators come to the highest floor. And I'm ready to walk out the door and go up to the peak. It's all beautiful sounds that resonate in my ear and to my soul. With soul, my Shabbos soul. Folks, thanks for this experience with you. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. And what we would like, our chairman of the Fahrenheit Education Committee is here tonight. That's Toby Parker, and may she be blessed. And what Toby and I would like is from you. If you could just take a moment now. Tell us we already offer 24 different types of classes here during the week. We'd like to offer more. And if anyone has any specific idea, or if anyone would like to hear special lectures on anything, we have very exciting programs this coming spring, all that anyone ever imagined. And some of Israel's greatest leaders coming here for the 50th anniversary, and some world-class Torah scholars, all kinds of things. With one exception, one is not such a great leader, but we have to have him. Okay, Harold? No? Okay. Harold, you stand outside when it comes to the picnic time. Plus we have great music, all kinds of things.
Music, that's also good
It's
stuff.
a phenomenal thing. But anyone has any ideas or suggestions, we really love to hear it. Call Toby, that's the best thing. Have a wonderful night, and thank you so much.